Hey, welcome back to the Nets. Unbiased views, they're fast, they're furious. Topics to be covered today. The three test matches that will be beginning on Boxing Day. All three Asian countries playing in. Sri Lanka visiting South Africa. Then there is New Zealand versus Pakistan and Australia versus India. Before we go anywhere, wishing everybody a Merry Christmas. And if you guys are visiting for the first time, please do hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, give me a shout out if you can. That would be super helpful. So let's start with the first test match. That will be Sri Lanka versus South Africa. Let's start with that one. So Sri Lanka, massive handicap there. I think Angelo Matthews is not traveling with the team this time around. He will be missed. Suranga Lakmal will be missed. And mind you, this is the same Sri Lankan squad that had last visited South Africa and beaten South Africa 2-0. So they had done a whitewash, something that no other visiting team has done in South Africa. So even if they are a little bit handicapped, I would still say that Sri Lanka, who has probably been the only Asian country who has never had really as much of a problem traveling around, they still go in with slight bit favorites in South Africa. South Africa is having problems of their own. I know that Sri Lanka was probably taking five uncapped players as well along with them. Um, Dimuth Karunaratne would be the captain again in absence of both Angelo Matthews and Chandimal. Malinga has, like you said, he has retired from Test cricket. He wants to preserve himself for the shortest format. With three World Cups coming up, Malinga won't be going in. So that being said, Sri Lanka and South Africa again. Kushal Pereira and Dhanush Shanaka have been recalled, so they will again. I think Shanaka automatically qualifies himself as one of the starters along with Pereira, and they have five newbies. I'm expecting at least one or two of them to get a new cap in South Africa. Again, the pitch will be Centurion, super fast match and pitch, and on the brighter side, whereas all the other pitches around the world are the best for batting on second and third day. Centurion, once the sun starts hitting the deck, the pitch starts getting a little bit faster and then it slows down after the fourth day and starts taking turn. So it's going to be an interesting test match. Sri Lankan batsmen against South African bowlers. South Africa, who has a problem of its own, they will be without Du Plessis as leading them this time. Quinton de Kock has been called in as the captain, and de Kock made a strange, interesting statement. He said that there's too much on his plate right now, and he doesn't want to captain South Africa for long. So Smith and Boucher are already looking at replacements, and hopefully someone from this current squad will put his hand up and say, "Okay, I'm ready." But South Africa, their bowling seems to be a little bit strapped with Kagiso Rabada, who will be missing out. Philander recently called his retirement, and what an amazing career he has had. It has been short, it has been sweet, but Philander has probably proven everywhere. He got wickets in India, he got wickets in England, so definitely will be missed. And you are also looking at Lungi and Giri, who's currently injured, and they may take a call at the very last moment when they talk about Ngidi. So I hope, and South Africa have called in two backups. They have called in Glenton Sturman and Miguel Pretorius, who's coming in from a little bit of a solid domestic run in recent times. He has got 20 odd wickets in the last 4 or 5 games that he played. So someone definitely to look at when he joins the squad. I think he probably might get in a call before Sturman does. Batting again, South Africa will probably be banking on their batting and try to take it as deep as possible. They wouldn't want to place fourth on this track at any cost, so that would be their strategy. Sri Lanka definitely has the edge over South Africa when it comes to bowling on the fourth or fifth day. So I think Sri Lanka goes in as favorites, and I won't be surprised if Sri Lanka manage to win again in South Africa. The next one over is New Zealand versus Pakistan. This again, anyone who has been following Pakistan for long knows that Babar Azam is their mainstay, and Babar Azam will be missed. Sadly, Shadab, who was asked to be the standing captain, was also declared unfit, and he will be missed as well. So this is the fun thing about not including Shadab. Shadab can also bat a little bit, and he adds a little bit of a balance to the Pakistan lineup. Shadab will be missed, and I think Rizwan will be given the captain's armband. Rizwan, who just had a winning domestic season in the T20 leagues recently, will probably consider it as an honor to play for Pakistan and captain it this time around. So it will again be an interesting match. Sorry. Pakistan was always banked on their bowling. Will again be the decisive factor for this test match. I am pretty sure Pakistan will probably field all three of their wicket takers: Mohammad Abbas, Shaheen Shah Afridi, and last but not the least, Naseem Shah. So a 16, 17-year-old young paceman, tearaway paceman. Then there's Mohammad Abbas, who probably focuses more on the swing, channel bowler. And then there is Shaheen Shah Afridi, who has probably got the most amazing stats in the last 6 or 7 months since since cricket resumed after COVID. New Zealand have recalled Ross Taylor. Ross Taylor, who has had a horrible run since the last two months or so, managed to score just 130, is again expected to start. So you might again see the bowling focused around Trent Bolt, Southee, Kyle Jameson, and maybe Neil Wagner. They will not probably go with a spinner on this track. Mount Ganawi, as they say, this is probably the second test match that this stadium will be hosting. Last time they played, it was against England, and England were defeated by an innings. So again, an interesting test match. I hope Pakistan does well, and I do have my selfish needs there. We want New Zealand to drop points when they are playing any other host nation, and that's simply in terms of the World Test Championship. So Pakistan's bowling versus New Zealand batting, and Kane Williamson. I'd pay to watch him bat. But again, the lineup, Pakistan's lineup would be something that will be a little bit more to keep an eye out for, considering the balance becomes a little bit off with Shadab not being in. Shan Masood, Abid Ali, Azhar Ali might come in, and it's Fawad Alam might get a nod in as well. Though it surprises me that Hafiz is not really a part of this team, considering the rich vein of form Hafiz has been. Then there might be Haris Sohail, Mohammad Rizwan, the captain, and the wicketkeeper comes in, Fahim Ashraf, and then the bowlers. So Yasir Shah, and then the bowlers. So again, an interesting match. That's the first one that will begin on Boxing Day. That starts in another hour and a half. All eyes tuned on that. And then the last one, Australia versus India, this time in Melbourne. So we spoke a lot about how the Indian middle order, just capitulated, and 36 all down was what we got in the last one. So the big one now is Virat Kohli has left the squad. There were quite a few discussions that did happen before Kohli left. The sad news is that Rohit Sharma might miss the third test as well, because he is in Sydney and COVID is actually running riots in Sydney. So they might just block off the entire town, entire city, and no one goes in, no one goes out. So Rohit Sharma is pretty much stuck in Sydney. With that being said, the squads have already been announced. Australia goes in unchanged. India has made 4 changes. They have brought in Jadeja and Pant. Hanuma Vihari retains his spot. He will be moved in up the order at number 4. Shubman Gill opens with Mayank. And then we have a force change down the order where Siraj gets his first test cap instead of Shami. I'm still surprised that KL Rahul did not find a spot in the squad, considering the form that KL Rahul was in. I would have probably picked him as a starter for this series. But again, Indian cricket team and surprises are always something that go hand in hand. I think this is the series where Rahane has to step in as a player and as a captain. If you notice, Rahane's career has pretty much stagnated. He has been a part of the Indian squad, but he has never really shown that spike which can take him to that next step. And yes, he is probably in his 30s, lower 30s, but I think uh, close eyes will be on him if he cannot really take that next step, and if somebody like Shubman Gill actually manages to make a mark here. We are looking at somebody who is, Rahane's spot could again be a little bit of a concern. Let's just hope that that isn't the case. Rahane steps up tomorrow. But I think the biggest change that India did was the inclusion of two left-handers, Jadeja and Pant. Finally, we have these two players who have the ability to take the attack back to Hazelwood, Stark, and Cummins. Um, with Jadeja, the other big factor that happens is he goes through his overs super quick. So you have five bowlers. Jadeja zips through his overs with his, he just comes in and gets his overs done in 2.5 minutes to 3 minutes, which is amazing. Siraj becomes the X factor when it comes to bowling. No one has seen Siraj bowl yet, and he has been a pretty decent wicket taker in India. Strike rate of somewhere around the 20s, not bad at all. So Shami will be missed, but I think Siraj could be an amazing X factor. He swings the ball a little bit, the red ball. So again, all eyes on him as well. And then comes Australian batting lineup. Australian batting lineup has revolved around Smith and Labuschagne. Smith didn't get a chance to really express himself in the first test match. Didn't really have to. But on this ground, Melbourne, Smith averages 105. There is also every possibility that the third test match will also be played in Melbourne. So let's just hope, we will keep our fingers crossed that whatever happens, cricket goes on. Rohit Sharma manages to come and play the test match, and hopefully we see some fight. I feel India would be able to draw this test match just because Melbourne is a flat track and Melbourne doesn't really offer the same kind of a swing to the bowlers, and secondly, the fact that it's not pink ball anymore. So I think it will be key that Mayank makes a statement up the order where he goes after Hazelwood, and even if it's 30 or 40 odd, the fact that some of the shine of the ball goes away will help India. And then Pujara's survival again managed to just stay there and tire the bowlers becomes massively important as well. If if I am if I win the toss, being an Indian, I would like to bat and see if we can put a substantial 300 or 350 on this track, which would maybe put India in a safe zone where they cannot lose the test match. But that being said, the game starts in another 2 hours, so I'm keeping my eyes and ears open. I will probably be watching the entire game today. But that's all that I have. Oh, the other thing was Indians finally made a selection change, and this is what amazes me. So you have Abhay Kuruvilla, you have who was the other one that managed to get a nod? So we basically got three selectors who have got a nod in to be chief selectors, the panel of selectors in India, and surprisingly, none of them have played T20 cricket. This happens on top of the fact that there are three World Cups coming in, limited over edition World Cups that are coming in. So Abhay Kuruvilla was never really renowned for his bowling in one-day internationals. He is one of the selectors. And it's going to be a little bit of a surprise considering how we managed to neglect someone like Ajit Agarkar, who was pretty much, a part of IPL as well as test matches, and his phenomenal record in one-dayers. So a little bit disappointed with the selection of chief selectors, but let's just keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best. I guess that's all that I have for today. Wherever you guys are, stay healthy, stay safe. Merry Christmas to you guys. And we'll keep our fingers crossed and hope the Boxing Day test match stays to its hype. Talk to you guys soon. Thank you.